we're gonna put the cows to work. They have a job for us. They have a task, and that is the bale yard. Yeah, wow, I was actually impressed at how stupid that turned out. Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Ohrmundt Simmentals. All right, it is Saturday morning, and we are starting out at the shop. Why? Because if you watched the last video, I did not finish the pasture like I wanted to, and I either have to finish today or I have to give the cows the rest of the field that I gave them in the last video. We're starting out at the shop because I wanted to see if I could get my grass trimmer started. Could not. But we're gonna borrow Mom and Dad's, which I had let him know that I was going to do that. So make sure we don't bend that one in half like I did on mine, because his is a pretty nice Husqvarna. It's actually a little older than mine, but I've definitely abused mine with fence work the last like 5 years. So we're actually just gonna go straight down here and get into the pasture, like behind where the trailer and the roller and all that stuff are, and then we're gonna make our way down, because if you remember, I ended at our south creek crossing, and then I'm just gonna take the grass trimmer and hammer and pliers and then just walk across the creek and then just do that like 30 yards of trimming, because that usually gets pretty tall, reset a couple of posts, and then I'm usually pretty much done there. And then that way I don't have to worry about trying to cross the creek or drive all the way around. I'm already just there. I just have to walk through the creek. All right, so we're back over. Went over just reset a couple of posts, tighten up a few things, and it is actually a really good thing I did not try and drive through there. Right about in here, it drops off 2 feet. So I would have been in a world of hurt. Kind of like when I got stuck. Was it last year I got stuck? And I had a video on that. And I had to walk back and get some stuff to winch my way out. So we're down by the roller and the trailer, but this corner, nothing too special going on here. This double line, if you guys remember, this double line goes on down the hill, and there's a T-post down there, and then it goes north. And then right here I just have a single line. This is that, you know, quote-unquote poly wire. I have it going along this ridge because just past this brush pile off to this side, we dumped a lot of brush and stuff like that, because the bank just goes whoop. It's a very steep drop. It's another one that we don't like them, and it's very sandy, and the sand has kind of, and it's just from just years and years of being steep, exposed, and sandy. So we decided, you know what, we're gonna just dump a bunch of brush there because it's a good spot, keeps the cows from going down it, and then we'll just put up a line to make sure that they don't get in there. So I just need to pick up tensions and do some trimming, and then we'll head down the hill at the end, and we'll come back this way, and there's a little bit of trimming down there as well. All right, so that was probably that's probably ultimately the crappiest section to trim. I've got that done, so now I just have to drive all the way around and get back to that corner, and then I'm actually kind of in the home stretch. But now I'm going to be like in 100% shade, which is nice too. So let's get down there. All right, we are definitely hitting the home stretch, because right behind Mom and Dad's, and right over there is where we all started. Right where that maple tree is, right there. So I just need to backtrack a little bit and reset a couple of posts. Might have to come back with the grass trimmer. This. Oh. Sounded awfully squatchy back there. I don't know what the hell just fell, but it was loud and big. This tree right here, this is the one that we had cut it down a number of years ago, but this is the one where I drove up here, wasn't quite right, and then I coasted back, and this is where This is the one that I bent my grass trimmer on. So we're back out here. Took a little lunch break. I am done with everything. This is where we started, right here by this maple tree. Everything in the back pasture is done. The only thing that needs to be done now is, got a line of storms coming in, so I want to try and get this done before that comes, is this line, a little over 100 yards, needs to be trimmed out. And it usually takes me about 20 minutes to do, give or take. So I want to try and get that done. Let's throw the earplugs in, and I should have a full tank of gas. And it'll use most of that tank of gas. It's always fun. Just got that trimming done. And like, got the trimming done, walked back to the four-wheeler, and within 5 minutes, it started to rain. Hopefully it's not too heavy. I mean, we could use a little bit of a shower, at least cut the heat a little bit. It's a hell of a day for growing corn. Mid to low 80s, humid. That's corn growing weather. I think ours is probably growing at least 6-8 inches in the last few days. It's nice that we finally got it sprayed. It's just gonna take a while for it to really clean out, and it'll be canopied over by the end of the week. So probably Monday have to call already for top dressing. But I think what we're gonna do now, Dad and I just talked about it, is we're gonna play around with this stuff. We were thinking of, we originally were gonna order or have Swiderski's set aside a set of knives for the cutter bar. But after watching a couple videos and things like that, we're gonna take them off and we're gonna sharpen them. And a little shout out to Rolling Hills Farms out in Minnesota. Found one of your older videos of having issues with net wrap, not necessarily cutting, but the way it was distributing over, and all the little settings and stuff. I mean, I saw it in the book too, like where there's all those different settings, but it's always nice to see somebody actually do it, or at least point out and see the difference between what was happening before and what was happening after. So that was good to find and take a look at. And it just was like, oh, those knives aren't too bad to get out, and it's probably a really good idea to sharpen them. And then we found some video or some threads of people like, how often do you sharpen them? And some people were like, oh, every 300 to 500 bales. I think that's a little excessive. I would agree, like once a year probably seems legit. And then I can start looking at things like, is our net wrap centered? I think it is pretty centered. They put this roll in there for us. So they didn't feed it, which probably the harder part. But they had a roll in here, and we actually have to go get a couple of rolls. They got a pretty decent price on their stuff, and hopefully it's decent quality stuff. This was in there, Cordex Ag net, so that was in with the roll when I fed it through. So yep, Dad's here, so we're gonna play around with the baler. So we have been in a major rain delay. Probably got over a half-inch of rain in the last half an hour, but the whole cutter bar is out, so we removed the whole thing. Lost a retaining ring in the process. That's my fault. I did it. But here it is. It actually doesn't look too bad. Dad put some cardboard on it and it cut pretty decent. But figured as long as we have it this far, we'll buzz the bolts out, sharpen it up a little bit, throw it back in. I did also notice that our net wrap is shifted to the left, or the driver's side. I'll say driver's side, like if you're driving in a car, to the left like an inch. 3/4 of an inch. Sorry, 3/4 of an inch. Dad corrected me. All right, thanks to the wonderful rain delay, what we're gonna go do, we're gonna give those cows the rest of that field. So I gotta set up a temp, and Dad's got a couple things he wants to do. But we got that knife assembly back in place. That wasn't horrible. All right, so we're making some good progress here. So we needed to get things moved. The chopper boxes were right over there. The bale wagons are getting moved right now. Gravity box is moved. That wooden hay wagon is moved. I'm not sure if we're gonna move the black trailer yet. So what we're gonna end up doing is these cows, as long as we've committed to making this fence and just give them the rest of the field, they're gonna be on here for a few days. We're gonna put the cows to work. They have a job for us. They have a task, and that is the bale yard. So this is where all our bales go. They're gonna go out. There's a white lick tub over there I got to pick up yet, but somewhere out in there is the southern edge of where these bales are gonna go. And there's a lot of grass. There's some weeds, and all that kind of stuff. We kind of like it trimmed up. And honestly, if it's a little bit of forage, maybe they don't eat half of it. Maybe they'll trample the rest of it because it is just junk, and they'll go find the good stuff because there is clover around in here. They'll find the good stuff, trample the bad stuff, and they clean up our hay yard for us. All right, fence is up. Guess what? It's raining again. So we're going around here, like I talked about, going around the manure spreader. This is where the manure pile was. Mostly weeds, but got a little bit of my oats coming in. And then we're bending around this hay wagon up and over to the metal hay wagons. So I'm gonna jump in Dad's truck for a couple minutes. Hopefully this rain passes, and then we'll move the cows. All right, everybody is in. They're pretty much found out where the boundaries are, and it's starting to rain again. So I'm not really gonna spend time out here looking at them, unfortunately. I'd like to, but when it rains all the time, it's hard to do that. It is the end of the day, and I'm kind of beat. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of beat. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Hey, good morning. All right, Sunday morning, and we had off and on rain basically almost all night. So we're gonna start out our morning down at the shop, keep working on doing some checks and fine tuning on the New Holland RB450. Yeah, so I think the one thing that we determined from our first go with actually doing bales with this baler is the potential is very, very much there. Obviously we had issues cutting the net. We are net wrap noobs. So, you know, there's things that we're gonna not remember to look at, or, you know, just not think of right away. So that's it is what it is. But we also needed to get that hay done before it got rained on, so we were willing to deal with some heartache. So this bale of net is shifted this way, and I think what happened with that one is because it is shifted that way, I think that net grabbed, and it's actually, there's some wrapped on one of the rollers down there. I gotta get that out. But this needs to get shifted this way 3/4 of an inch, which I think at minimum in this, the clip is right here. I think at minimum it needs to go here, but I think because that net's shifted over so far, it just caught on something and tore, and that would cause that. That's what caused that little poof. All right, so I'm working on getting the net wrap roll all lined up and centered. So what I've been using is I got a framing square. The framework for the duckbill on the edge there. So then I'm taking the skinny end up in there, letting it stick in, you know, like an inch or two past, and then I can kind of get it so it's flush. And then looking on this end here, there we go. Looking on this end where it is off this edge, so right there, you know, we're about a 1/2 inch, give or take. So we'll come over here to the right side, and we're pretty close to being in the middle. So I had to move it over 2 notches, and I think I'm as far over as it can go. At least as far over to like my left, the baler's right. So that is quite a bit different than what it was before. It does look like they swapped out this eye bolt, so I don't know what they did there, and I don't know, to me that's kind of a cheesy eye bolt. I doubt that's factory, so I think I might have to order a new one of those. All right, so what have we been up to? We got the brake set on this. It was quite a bit out. Well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say it was quite a bit out. If you can kind of see the old rings here and here, this got adjusted maybe, well, I guess you could see it maybe more here on the edge there. That's a little under 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, somewhere in there, that it got adjusted. So that should be set decent. Told you guys about the net wrap roll. We didn't do net tension. Right through there is the turtle pond, so this is essentially at the same level. I think over the years, if we had wet years, if we went through here, I think over the years this is kind of settled. I don't know if it's just the evolution of the pond or whatever, but now over the last few years we've had to stay a little ways away from it. Not horrible, not a big deal, but I think I'll do this lap. I know our neighbor he likes trapping and stuff like that, so he's got I think he's got a game camera in this one corner, and the grass is pretty tall, so we want to make sure we don't hit that. Now Dad's coming back to cut the background. All right, so we are back out, and Dad's literally right there. So I'm not too far away. I started this, starts moving out the line. He called me back over and asked me to widen it out a little bit. So right now we're just stretching this line out so we have a good idea of where it is and where our point is going to be over there, and then we'll go do the same with the other line. That'll take a little bit longer. All right, so we've got the north line over closer to where Dad is. We got that all set up, and now I'm down actually right on the corner by Mom and Dad's. This is typically where we'll drive in unless it's wide equipment, but most of the time if we have to get back there or something, or it's me, I drive in here and then over there, so we're not driving across the field. We don't like to do that as much as possible. But now I got to take that line and run it down here. Now I need to ask a favor. It is July, it's 4th of July weekend. Come October, early October, late September, I need you guys to remind me, Chris, put this temp line on a reel. Doesn't matter what reel, a reel. Doesn't matter, just a reel. You can even preface it by saying, hey, idiot, put that temp line on a reel. It's just so much easier. Well, as luck has it, I am not gonna fight that bundle. I don't know how I wrapped that stuff up last year, but holy hell in a handbasket. That is not gonna work. I could get it, but I ain't sitting here for an hour unraveling it. I don't know what the hell I did last year. So, let's go find some new stuff, or just some other stuff. Maybe stuff that's actually on a reel, and we'll set something up. Yeah. Wow. I was actually impressed at how stupid that turned out. All right, I think I found exactly what I need. This is one of my 1-to-1 reels, which I never use. I hate them. But it's an okay reel. It's just on a 1-to-1, and it sucks. So, what we're gonna do, the other thing is, it's got this little square end here, and I'm pretty sure I can find a socket that I can put on there and reel it up. So, the other nice thing is I'm gonna use the handle. The only thing I don't know is if I have enough. I'm 99% sure I have enough. And this is poly braid. This is nice poly braid from Ken Cove. Like I've said, some of this poly braid is like 8 years old and it's still in nice shape. And right or wrong, once these things come outside for the summer, they are outside all summer long. I don't bring them in, take them out. I pick them up, I set them at the end of the field in the next, probably what would be the next paddock, and they spend the whole flipping summer outside. And it's been like that for 8 years, and the stuff don't go bad. It's good poly braid. And most of my reels have come from Ken Cove also. I think the green ones are O'Brien's, and I think the geared red and white ones, I think they're knockoffs, but they've been fine. You can take them apart and clean them up, because I've gotten some that have gotten sand in them and stuff like that. So I've taken them apart, cleaned them up, shot a little WD in them, and they're good as new. Got all of our posts set. I started to kind of like set a post, wrap, set a post and wrap, but with this stuff, it doesn't work real well that way. And I had plenty of poly braid, but I think what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna figure out how much I need, but I'm just gonna cut the line, tie it up, and then when I wrap it, I'll just like, tuck it under a couple of wraps or something, and then start reeling it in. Alrighty then, I think we are actually pretty set to go here. Got this all set up, put another T-post in there, kind of to anchor, left plenty, like almost 2 feet extra of line for in the future in case this has to get longer or shorter. You can always get shorter, you can't always get long. Well, apparently my SD card is full, so we're gonna end this one on the phone. Boys just got their grain, so they're all happy, they're all ready to go. They are now in full swing, do what they need to do, which is eat and grow. So yeah, I'd say it was actually I'd consider it a pretty accomplished weekend for myself personally, because that back pasture it's a lot of work. It's well worth it once those cows get back there, which will probably be tomorrow or Tuesday at the latest. Once they're back there, it's definitely worth the effort. All right, we're at the end of the day. Enough of me rambling. So I hope you guys liked the video. Please hit that thumbs up button as always. Definitely helps support the channel. And of course, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Always like seeing those questions and comments. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Yes, we are into haying season, but we still want that goal of 2,000 subs anytime we get it. Sooner the better. So please, don't forget to subscribe. Help support the channel. And of course, thanks for coming along.